You may all be seated. Good morning, and welcome to our incoming students, parents, families. Welcome to the faculty behind me and some in the audience. I didn't see any pets, but if there are some pets here, welcome as well. I'm Stan Gerson, Dean of the School of Medicine, and absolutely honored and privileged to be here with you this morning as we gather to celebrate a long-standing tradition in medicine, which is when we bring our new students onto the campus to have a white coat ceremony. It is an amazing time for our students and for all of you, and one that we look forward to. Each of you is joining our students, one of our three absolutely phenomenal medical degree training programs, the university program, the Learner College program, and the MD-PhD program, all within the School of Medicine. It's a special day, and like all of us on stage, you will remember it for the rest of your career, so savor the moment, you and your family members, friends. And when we don the white coat, your first white coat, it's really a symbol of the profession of medicine, and it serves as the formal entrance into that discipline. This venue is quite fitting. Severance Music Center is home of the world-renowned, perhaps best Cleveland orchestra acclaimed for decades. It's truly worth a visit. And I suspect that there are many musicians in the audience, both our students and otherwise, so please come back. It's a phenomenal place to listen to a concert. If I could ask our medical students to please rise. Thank you. Take a moment to reflect on the tremendous dedication and perseverance that brought you to this point. Both your acceptance in and matriculation in medical school. Think how long you have aspired to be physicians, some of you since before kindergarten. But also remember that your parents, friends, relatives who have supported you tirelessly were incredibly important in your journey and will continue to be so throughout your education. You'll need to count on them, and we certainly want you to be able to do so, and that's why bringing everyone together today to understand this moment is so important for us. And I know that when I speak for all of us in the auditorium, that we offer our most sincere congratulations to each and every one of you on the start of this journey. Please be seated. I also want to go back to your parents, friends, partners. As a parent of two graduates of our medical school, I certainly know how important parenthood and partnership is in this experience. You can't really do it alone. It takes a group effort for each of you, and certainly be aware that those behind me on this stage and the entire education program that we provide is fully supportive of your needs and nurturing your creation as outstanding physicians. Remember also that there's a certain amount of trust that society places in physicians, and you have to take care of that and be responsible for it, not only in the patient room, but in your day-to-day activities. Everyone from here on will recognize you as a physician in training and ultimately as a physician, and it is, in fact, a responsibility to do good and do well for society. The mission of our school is to improve global health by linking research to populations in a superb education environment. And in fact, this morning at the Learner College program, I mentioned the issues of climate change. I just had another meeting with one of our scholarship donors, and we talked about the importance of climate change, something we're just beginning to teach in medical school education. So when I say improving global health, we mean it. how to bring the issues of global health to our local emergency room and make sure that you're trained for all of that complexity. Our job is to show you how to practice medicine, to help you through the challenges, to help you appreciate both the responsibility to understand and empathy for the complexity of the human condition. We will educate you and support you in how to counsel patients in the clinical difficult decisions that they need to make, how to comfort in times of distress, how to continually seek knowledge and do better and improve what we do both here and across the globe. In the coming years, you'll gain those knowledge and those skills, allowing you to diagnose and to treat in whatever specialty you elect to pursue. We also recognize that there's certain times in any education program where the going gets rough. There are moments of doubt, long study, high pressures of expectations, test taking, and the like. But remember that we're here, as is your family members, friends, and colleagues, partners, to help you make sure that you get through all of those points of time, and collectively, our job is for each one of you to graduate as a successful physician. Let me tell you a little bit about this incredible class. As I remarked to them when they were preparing their comments about the medical profession's oath of conduct, it is an incredibly broad-ranging set of individuals coming from incredibly different and varied ethnic backgrounds all across the country, many first-generation immigrants, a number who are from underserved, underrepresented backgrounds and social challenges. Many of you have worked incredibly hard to get to the point where you're now about to be synthesized into a fabric of a class. And I will tell you in the 4 or 5 days that we've gotten to know you that there's a buzz about this group which is actually quite special, which we haven't seen for the past number of years. And so all of us are incredibly excited here on stage, looking forward to our ability to help train and advance your own careers. Now, our platform behind me consists of a number of faculty, education leaders, society deans who are incredibly devoted to the education of our medical students and provide an incredible environment for them to be successful. So to acknowledge them, I'm going to have them each stand and then remain standing, and at the end of the list, I'll ask you for your acknowledgement. Let me start with Dr. Leah Logio, Vice Dean for Medical Education and Director of Medical Education. Bud Isaacson, Executive Dean of the Lerner College of Medicine of Case Western Reserve and a member of the Department of Medicine. Our society deans are Steve Riccinati, Associate Dean for Student Affairs who leads the Warren Society. Todd Otteson, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs who leads the Backwell-McKinley Society. Marjorie Greenfield, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs who leads the Geiger Society. Jill Azok, Assistant Dean for Medical Affairs and leader of the Satcher Society. Angelique Reedus McCoy, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and head of the Robbins Society. And Jason Lambrisi, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs who leads the Gerberding Society. Also our academic deans and leadership, Dr. Christine Warren, Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs, Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine program. Dr. Neil Mehta, Associate Dean for Curricular Affairs for the Lerner College program. Dr. Amy Wilson-Delfos, Associate Dean for Curriculum and a professor in the Department of Pharmacology. Anastasia Rowland Seymour, Associate Dean for Program Innovation and Educational Enhancements. Adrian Fletcher, Vice Dean, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Excellence. And Dr. Alex Wang, Director of our MD, PhD, or Medical Sciences training program. Perhaps the one that you know the best, however, is Dr. Lena Mehta, Associate Dean for Admissions. I'm sure each of you is familiar with Dr. Mehta. She is certainly familiar with each of you. And I'd also certainly like to acknowledge Dr. Will Barsoom, who is here with us as our keynote speaker, and you'll hear about him and from him in just a few minutes. So could I please ask for your applause to recognize these outstanding leaders? Now, believe it or not, although I'm sure all of you really want to pay attention to me, you'd actually rather hear from some comments from Dr. Isaacson and Dr. Logio, and then our white coat speaker, Will Barsoom. So I'm going to turn the podium over to Dr. Logio, and believe it or not, we're not going to leave the day without issuing some white coats. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Great. So the students got to hear from me about a week ago, and I am welcoming them to the study of medicine. And now you're part of the Case family, so welcome. Studying medicine is a lifelong adventure, and you will be surprised by things that you are privileged to be in the space of as a doctor. For all the things that I do as a practicing internist, being with a patient is actually still my very favorite thing. I joked with your family and friends earlier that white coat is like looking at you as shiny pennies, because you're just shiny pennies and you're ready to go and you're eager, your smiles are big, the coats are really white. And about 10 days down the road, you won't look quite as shiny, but keep working at it. It is the greatest adventure. We are part of your team, and we can't wait to see what you do. Healthcare needs you, and while we do amazing things in healthcare, like cure cancer and replace joints and all kinds of help people with paralysis walk again, we do amazing things, there's still a lot of room for improvement. So I would encourage you to be true to who you are and true to your passions and what really matters to you, and help make it better for everyone. So buckle up, the ride's about to start. I'll turn it over to Dr. Bud Isaacson, the Executive Dean of the Lerner College Program.
Well, good morning and congratulations to our students, families, friends. There is a buzz about this class, and I can see where it comes from. There's a buzz in the audience when the students came in, really a lot of enthusiasm. It's so exciting. I want to know how many of you who are here with a student have already been approached by that student with a stethoscope. Don't trust everything they say just yet. They're on their way. There was a wonderful stethoscope ceremony on Friday. Now a white coat, so look out, right? I'm going to share my favorite story from White Coat. The deans are sick of this story, but it's true, and I have to share it again. So a number of years ago, a student, Andrea Hannock, was in clinic with me as a third-year student, and she said, you know, I'm engaged. I'm going to get married in the next year. And I said, who are you marrying? She said, a classmate, Andy Harding. I said, oh, that's great. How did you guys meet? So Hannock, Harding, alphabetical order, white coat. It is true. That relationship was kindled at the white coat ceremony, so look out. Let me leave you with a couple tips for success as you put this white coat on. And this comes from experts. This comes from my patients, okay? There's nothing that I enjoy more than having a student in clinic with me, and I walk into the room and the patient will say, what a great student. this one's really going to be terrific, which is great to hear. But I'm always curious, and I ask the patient in front of the student, thank you so much. What made you say that? And the themes are almost always the same. The themes are, that student really seemed interested in me. That student listened to me. That student looked at me instead of the computer. And these are all things that don't require expert medical knowledge. These are things you can do right now. Last example of that happened just last week in clinic with a third-year student, and we were seeing a retired physician, now close to 80. I walked in the room, and the physician said to me, "This student's fantastic." And I asked the questions, and he recited the usual things. And then the patient, a retired physician, left the student with a piece of advice. He said, "Don't lose your humanity," which I thought was great advice. So there you have it, students. Listen carefully, take interest in your patients, make visual contact with them, and never lose your humanity. So again, congratulations to all here. I really look forward to the events of the day. It's a wonderful, wonderful celebration. Leah.
It's now my honor this morning to introduce our white coat ceremony keynote speaker. Dr. Will Barsoom is an alum of the Case Western Reserve College of Arts and Science, earning a bachelor's degree in chemistry, before then earning his medical degree at The Ohio State University. He went on to complete his orthopedic surgery training at Cleveland Clinic, followed by a fellowship in adult reconstructive surgery. He served as the vice chairman of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery and chair of surgical operations at Cleveland Clinic, before then moving to serve as the CEO and president of Cleveland Clinic, Florida, growing it from a single 155-bed hospital system with 9 remote sites to a 5-hospital, over 1,000-bed tertiary and quaternary care hospital with over 40 regional sites. He has also led a successful research program that focuses on reconstructive surgery of the knee and hip joints with over 200 peer-reviewed publications and over 50 U.S. patents. In 2013, he was recognized by Cranes Cleveland as a healthcare hero. He is lauded for his innovation in value-based care and currently serves as the president and chief transformation officer for Healthcare Outcomes Performance Company, the largest musculoskeletal value-based care organization in the country with international sites, I learned this morning. He's led the shift from volume-based to value-based care in that space. He currently serves on our Dean's Visiting Committee, providing valuable insights and advice to the Dean, and has been generous in giving his time to mentor students in our health innovation and entrepreneur pathway, among others. I'm also told he has a very deep engagement with his community and social issues, and I, for one, am looking forward to his comments this morning. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loggia. It's really an honor to be here, and I'm thrilled that my parents got to hear that introduction. I'm not sure I've ever impressed them yet, so hopefully the dean did. Just as a warning, if you hear any heckling today, that's my sister who's sitting right up there. She did not get into medical school and is a lawyer. So she's very jealous about everybody here. So getting serious about things here. First of all, it's an absolute honor to be here today. I want to thank the deans for this invitation. I also just wanted to call out, as all of you are walking in to the room, all the students walking in, you had a standing ovation from all of your attendings here, all of your professors and your deans. You know, that says a lot. It says a lot about the confidence that we are all putting in you as the next generation of physicians, taking care of our patients, taking care of our family members, taking care of our friends. I think it says a lot. I can tell you that as a medical student myself, I actually did rotations here in Cleveland at the Cleveland Clinic. And during that time, Dr. Isaacson, right here, was one of my attendings. He was a new attending at the Cleveland Clinic. I was a fresh medical student. And I remember in my class, he did not tell us that there was a buzz about us. So I remember that, doctor. So you guys really are the best of the best, right? It's not a random event that you end up matriculating to medical schools here in Cleveland, Ohio. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you is some of the history of medicine here in Northeast Ohio, right? Many folks think of, the ultimate cities to train in as Boston or Baltimore or Chicago. I would argue pretty vehemently that Cleveland is really the premier city when it comes to healthcare, not only in the United States, but really across the globe. I'm frequently asked about my own children, would I recommend that my kids go into healthcare and go into medicine and become doctors? And I would tell you emphatically, 100% yes. You are joining a field that there is no other field with the prestige, with the trust, with the confidence that medicine has. You heard a few minutes ago about the fact that we're held to a higher standard. I'm going to talk about that in my talk today. But the reality of it is we are held to a higher standard, and we should be held to a higher standard because there is no greater honor than when another human being chooses to trust you with their health and with their lives. So congratulations to being at this point today and being able to be the recipient of that trust from patients moving forward. So let me share with you some Cleveland first. So today you may think of Cleveland healthcare as really being Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, Metro Hospital. But there's a long, storied history of healthcare here in Cleveland. St. Luke's Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital, Deaconess Hospital, incredible healthcare organizations that are no longer still with us, but many of them still continue to have foundations that support research and education throughout Northeast Ohio. In addition, those organizations have trained thousands of healthcare leaders that continue to practice here in Northeast Ohio and around the country. Some of the first that I think are really amazing, and you may not be aware of, was the first successful blood transfusion was performed in Cleveland. The first treatise on dermatology by Noah Worcester was written here in Cleveland. Abraham Metz's first textbook on ophthalmology here in Cleveland. Samuel Kelly's first textbook on pediatric surgery here in Cleveland. F. George Estefanis wrote the premier textbook on cardiovascular anesthesia here in Cleveland. Dayton Miller performed the first x-rays in the United States right here at the Case School of Applied Sciences. Research that led to the disappearance of the goiter belt. I don't know if all of you know what the goiter belt is, but that's when your thyroid grows, and we found out that the reality of it was it came from a lack of iodine. So that research came here in Cleveland and ended up essentially eliminating all the goiters that existed throughout the Midwest due to the lack of iodine. William Kolb developed the first kidney dialysis right here at the Cleveland Clinic, also worked with NASA on developing the first artificial hearts. Most folks probably know about the work that F. Mason Soanes did in developing coronary angiography, which has now led to thousands and tens of thousands of patients having successful interventions for their coronary arteries around the globe today. At University Hospitals, Roland Moskowitz was the first to trace a gene defect as the cause of osteoarthritis. Eric Topol at Cleveland Clinic, working on the value of TPA on evolving heart attacks. And Joe Ionati, who's a mentor of mine, working on both robotic and manual instrumentation to finally and precisely place implants for hip and knee replacements as well as shoulder replacements. If anybody in the audience here has a hip replacement or a knee replacement that was done here in the United States, chances are one of the folks on that design team trained and practiced here in Cleveland, either at University Hospitals or Cleveland Clinic. It really is an absolutely amazing city to train in and to practice in. So what do all of these things have in common? The single thing that they all have in common is innovation, this innovative spirit. And one of the things that I'll ask you to think about as you're starting on this incredible trajectory in healthcare is to not only exercise your left brain, right, where we think about math and science, but exercise your right brain. How do you be creative? How do you innovate? How do you question? And how do you continue to propel what we're doing in healthcare forward? That's perhaps the most exciting thing to be able to do as a doctor. And you heard before that the trust that is placed in you is it's an incredible honor, right? But we are expected to do more. We are expected to push more. You've also gotten to this point because you've been purpose-driven. You've always thought about what is next in life, right? In high school, you thought, what clubs should I join? What do my SAT scores need to be? What should I get on my ACT so I get into a great college? When you're in college, what classes should I take and what clubs should I join so that I'm a really great candidate for medical school, right? There's always that next step. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll be thinking, how do I need to perform in medical school to get that residency that I want? And after residency, if you decide to do a fellowship, what do I need to do to get that fellowship that I want? Well, my advice to you is enjoy the ride. When I think back to my own experience in college and medical school, in residency and in fellowship, those were amongst the best years of my life. So as you take your training seriously, enjoy that time. Enjoy the honor that you have to have been selected to be amongst one of the greatest classes in the history of medicine and to matriculate in one of the greatest cities that has one of the greatest histories in medicine. So I congratulate you for that. You're also going to have the opportunity to practice medicine in what I believe is the greatest country on earth, right? We do incredible things in healthcare here in the United States. We have innovated in healthcare. But I will tell you that as great as we are in innovating the care that we receive, I would say that we're somewhat behind in innovating our healthcare delivery model. So what do I mean by that? If you're really sick, there is no better country to be in than the United States to get care. But if you're not sick, we have opportunities. We have opportunities when it comes to wellness. We have opportunities when it comes to keeping our population healthier. I've had the opportunity to go on medical missions all around the world, including Uganda, Ethiopia, and Egypt. I remember vividly visiting Uganda, where between 3 doctors, 2 physician assistants, 3 nurses, and 2 pharmacists, we saw 5,000 patients in 3 days. It was absolutely incredible. People literally walked 20 miles to come and see us because they knew that it was likely going to be the only opportunity in their lives to actually see a physician. I remember I brought my 3 little girls with me and them playing with a balloon with all the kids that were standing in line to get their physicals and see a doctor. We saw patients that had had headaches due to malaria literally for years. Can you imagine having a headache for 5, 6, 7 years and all you needed was an antibiotic to get rid of that headache? So when Dr. Gerson talks about the mission of Case Western Reserve University's School of Medicine and he talks about global health, think about that. Our obligation as physicians is not only to provide the greatest health care that we can here in the United States, but it's to spread that knowledge across the globe. 50% of the human beings on the globe today do not have access to the most primitive, basic healthcare. We can help solve that. So as I said, my generation has done, I think, a lot in healthcare in terms of advancing treatments, whether it's in orthopedic surgery, whether it's in cancer care, whether it's in cardiac care. But we have fallen behind when it comes to that delivery of healthcare. We live in a country where we spend 20% of our gross domestic product on healthcare. That is simply not something that we can continue with. We have to bend the cost curve. We have to provide higher quality, and we have to do that for lower cost. We also have to be more equitable with our healthcare. In the United States today, if you're a woman of color, you have a 3 times higher chance of dying during childbirth than if you're not a woman of color. That's not okay. If your BMI is greater than 35, you wait longer for surgery. If you are poor, you are less likely to be diagnosed in a timely fashion with cancer. These are things that we have to solve. We have to be an equitable country. We have to ensure that every single human being that is on this soil has access to the same high-quality, low-cost health care. These are challenges that my generation is leaving behind, and my hope is that your generation will solve them as we continue to go down this path. Martin Luther King, who's an absolutely incredible human being, makes this quote: "The ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at a time of challenge and controversy." We are at that crossroads today in healthcare in the United States. And I genuinely believe that all of you take this seriously and think about not only learning the Krebs cycle and, oxidative phosphorylation, right? All of these things are important. But equally important is, how do we make sure that every single human being that needs our help will get our help? And that's a big challenge to you. The other comment that I want to touch on talks about you, how you got here. You got here with an incredible work ethic, right? Always thinking ahead, always studying hard, always passing up the opportunities potentially to go out with your friends, to stay home and study for that biochemistry exam to make sure that you got the best score you possibly could to get into medical school. But you're going to have to dig deep in these coming years. Medical school is not a walk in the park. Residency is not a walk in the park, and you will have to dig deep. So dig deep. Find where you find that extra strength from. Maybe it's your holy book, maybe it's your Bible, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, whatever it is. You will need to dig deep and find that area. The dean also talked about the fact that we're held to a higher standard. Paul Kalanithi, many of you may know the author, wrote the book When Breath Becomes Air, talks about technical excellence and talks about the fact that in certain fields, like healthcare, technical excellence is not an option. It's actually a moral obligation. So I want you to think about that, right? It's no different than a pilot who's flying your airplane, right? To not be technically excellent at what they do is simply not an option. For us as physicians, it's the same. It is assumed that when you see a physician, that they know what they're doing, that they've done their homework, that they are experts in what you're coming to see them for. Being anything less than an expert is simply not acceptable. That being said, although we're experts at what we do, we're not perfect. But we're better than most, and that's important, right? Imagine if in healthcare you could get into the Healthcare Hall of Fame by batting .350 or shooting 85% of your free throws. Doesn't work, right? We have to do better. We have to be as excellent as we possibly can be, and we're held to that standard, and rightfully so. Because as I said before, as a patient chooses to put their trust and their health in your hands, we owe them to be the very, very best that we possibly can. You are going to have the opportunity to meet patients and meet their families on what is sometimes the darkest, most difficult day of their lives. Walking into your office, they may be absolutely terrified. You will have the opportunity to make their day a little bit better or a whole lot worse. And I think it's important that you foster that ability to communicate, to explain to patients about their disease process, to explain to them what it takes to live a healthier life. It's not an easy thing to do. And many times we will have potential treatments for them that they just don't want to accept. And that's okay. It is our job to present them, to present all of our patients with options, to present them with our opinions, to tell them what we think is in their best interest. But ultimately, they may make a choice that you don't agree with. And ultimately, they may need a miracle which we just simply can't provide. And that's okay. You will go through medicine and your training, hearing sometimes from some of your attendings that you can't take it personally, that you shouldn't get overly involved with somebody else's disease. I would tell you that that's pretty hard to do. And I would also tell you that the very best doctors are doctors that feel the pain of their patients. They walk side by side with them as they're going through their treatments. And they win with them and they lose with them. And I think that's okay to do. So as you're hearing from folks, don't take it personally, but you do take it personally, that's okay. Don't feel that you're failing in that area. The next 9, 10, 12 years of your life, as you're going through your training, you're going to work more hours than you ever thought was possible. I remember vividly as an intern, this was before all the new rules around 80-hour work weeks and whatnot. We used to take call every other night on the vascular surgery service at the Cleveland Clinic. And I remember we would start making rounds at 3 o'clock in the morning. You'd work all day. If you were on call, you'd work all night. You'd work all the next day. And you'd usually be driving home at 10 or 11 o'clock at night to try to get 3 hours of sleep before coming back. Fortunately, it was only a 1-month rotation at a time. But I remember vividly living in Cleveland Heights, driving down Mayfield Road right by the old Severance Mall there, and seeing in front of me that there was a red light. The red light was probably only about 500 feet away from me. And thinking to myself, I need to hit my brakes before I get to that red light because there's a car stopped there. And I fell asleep during that 10 seconds and ended up gently rear-ending the car in front of me. Here's the best part. Guy jumps out of the car. It's 11 o'clock at night, and he's grabbing his neck. Oh, I hurt my neck. Oh. I said, listen, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. Whiplash takes several hours. And he immediately, literally, this truly happened. He went, oh, okay. But the hours that you will work are real. Your pager will go off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'll think, dear God, how can this be? I need a little bit of sleep. I need a little bit of rest. And you'll again have to dig deep to what motivates you during those hours and during those minutes. And for me, it was words that were shared with me by my mother, who is here. And she told me, she said, son, every human being is created in the image of God. And every human being is worthy of your effort 100% of the time. So find out what it is for you that will drive you during those moments. Again, maybe it's the promise of fame and fortune, although I can tell you, with your intelligence, you could have made a lot more money in private equity and banking. All right? But you wouldn't get to save lives. So during these moments, during all of the training that you go through and all of the time that you spend becoming the very best doctor that you can, if you only save one life, or if you only make one other person's life dramatically better, won't it be worth it? Don't you think it'll be worth it? Nod your heads. Yes, it's worth it. For sure it's worth it. Everybody has bad days in healthcare. Everybody has days where you kind of wish that things had gone a little differently for you or for your patient that day, but that's okay. Your aspirations should seem to you to be out of reach, because your patients deserve that. You want to think beyond your ordinary sense. You want to think about being extraordinary. You've gone through life to this point thinking about greatness. I want you to focus on something different. I want you to focus on goodness, right? You're already great. You've already crushed all of your exams. You've already gone to the best undergraduate schools in the country. You've already matriculated to one of the greatest cities on earth when it comes to training in medical school. And you're coming to my alma mater, Case Western Reserve, which of course I adore. That's an amazing opportunity for you. But none of that teaches you to be good. Right? So think about that. Think about the extra moment that you can spend with a patient. Think about making eye contact with that patient. Some of you here will end up becoming CEOs, will become deans of medical schools, will become chairs of world-renowned departments. One of you here may end up finding an incredible cure, right? None of you will be too important to care. So care about your patients and make sure that your patients have that focus and that time, and that they never feel like they are an annoyance for you that day, but instead that you are walking with them hand in hand as they go through their treatments. I'll leave you with one last thought. Winners become winners by failing more than others. They just don't allow themselves to be defined by their failures. Don't be defined by failure. And congratulations and welcome to medicine.
Dr. Rassoum, thank you for those incredibly passionate comments about medicine's life's lessons, well earned. And we have a small token of your presentation which we want to carry with you, and it certainly has Case Western Reserve all over it. Let me just say, in appreciation for your inspiration to our students as they embark on their medical education, presented to Will Barsoom, White Coat Speaker, today. Well, it is finally time to do a little presentation of white coats for each of you. So I'm delighted we're all here and have that point. I invite Dr. Lena Maida to the podium to begin the process, and all of us who have a spot on the stage to take our places, and we'll get started. Thank you, Lena.
Are you guys ready? Let's do it. Students, please come forward as I call your name. Mark Aboud. Zahara Abdulamir. Adith Abraham. Juwaria Ahmed. Reed Anderson. Harel Analik. Leslie Arma. Logan Behrman. Rohan Bagchi. Kanisha Bahiruthan. Tolulope Banjo. Puneeth Bansal. Kyle Barkley. Guillermo Beltran. Abigail Burke. Michael Bien. Jolie Ann Bogart. Maislin Bogart. Amrita Banthu. Brooke Boyd. Ian Brower. Allison Brown. Aaron Capadano. Connor Caputo. Mia Carlton. Josephine Chen. Patricia Chen. Elaine Chang. Fiona Cherry. Rishi Chiratana Gandola. Emily Cleveland. Danielle Crosby. Hamza Dashi. Alyssa Davis. Nicole Decker. Andrew DeMaster. Isha Deshpande. Sudesh Devadiga. Sarah Dickey. Carissa DiPero. Teresa De Silva. Fu Yong. Cyrus Egtadari. Yun Sun Oh. Haley Urkula. Alex Estrite. Benjamin Fesco. Julie Fox. Shri Ganesh. Sophia Gavalis. Nikita Gunagunta. Viraj Gorti. Victoria Grayson. Sam Green. Shuman Guntupali. Charles Guo. John Ha. Marika Heron. Priyesh Hafiz. Ji Woo Han. Robert Handy. Eric Hanneberg. Nehal Harish. Caitlin Henry. Skylar Huang. Natalie Hoffner. Zach Howell. Benjamin Huang. Kayla Hudson. Nicole Hunter. Jamaica Hurston. Doon Jin. Tanya Jindal. Jacqueline Jew. Samara Cass. Aditya Katewa. Megan Keating. Mrinali Kesavatis. Naif Kayami. Elissa Kim. Gloria Kim. Joyce Kim. Sarah Yuan Kim. Tony Kim. Varun Kampala. Chandrahas Kona. Nina Kozowski. Colleen Kramer. Zoe Krevlin. Natalie Kubicki. Shreya Kuchipudi. Cole Quaz. Ziyang Kwang. Jennifer Koo. Noor Lababedi. Braden Lau. Rachel Leo. Alexander Lavashkovich. Chuchen Aki Lee. Siddharth Lingatlu. Wilson Liu. Jonathan Liu. Matthew Liu. Jack Lesh. Sarah Lytle. Nikhil Madagulu. Abhishek Mahesh. Wing Mai. Nisha Mylapore. Ocean Malka. Matthew Mangel. Sophia Martinez. Bryce Mashimo. Peli Mechnikov. Leica Mendara Meta. Amelia Mesger. Jacob Miller. Rithika Mariala. Gaurav Mittal. Julia Melchek. Luke Molitor. Michael Momo. Daria Moody. Kayla Morris. Amrita Mukunda. Prerna Muthyala. Aritra Nag. Pulkit Nagpal. Suyash Naik. Pooja Nambyar. George Nassif. Tommy Nguyen. Precious Nwanwa. Ellie O. Liam O'Malley. Christopher O'Neill. Scout Osborne. Agawisa Otagbe. Melissa Owusu Ansa. Evan Patel. Mahir Patel. Sahil Patel. Amisha Paul. Megan Pedicini. Landon Power. Apurv Prabhakar. Shreyas Prasad. Emma Pronovost. Anirudh Raghavan. Thrayaksh Rajan. Priya Raju. Ananya Ram. Varun Ramachandran. Caroline Reddick. Andre Revenu. Claire Reynolds. Andrew Rickenberg. Deanna Riley. Nikki Rogers. Lauren Rodeo. Caroline Razzo. Fei Yi Rufai. Nathaniel Rupert. Lindsay Rush. Reagan Russell. Raina Samuel. Luis Santiago. Kate Schweitzer. Daniel Shen. Muskan Sidhu. Galen Silver. Zuni Minishin. Ayush Singh. Tyler Slater. Minay Song. Anika Sonig. Anisha Santi. Priyanka Srinivasan. Anisha Srivastav. Mikhail Stifler. Kaylin Stoller. Tanvi Sumit. Jeremy Sutterer. Eric Swenson. Ananya Tirala. Anna Turmolen. Sherry Tien. Julia Ting. Anushri Tiwari. Alka Tomar. Efrain Torres. Travis Tsai. Harashita Upada. Helena Van Bibber. Samuel Volpe. Nevin Walia. Alexander Wang. Amy Wang. Ben Westrom. Gila Weinfeld. Claudia Wong. Justin Wong. Shirley Wu. Eric Zhu. Kevin Shu. Noam Yanai. Annabelle Yang. Sarah Yashar Gershman. Claire Yin. Jessica Yoon. Dottie Yu. Anna Zhang. Emily Zhang. Emily Zhao. Ari Zalata.
So like I said, a lot of buzz in this room. We're not quite done. We have a little bit of work to do, and that is for me to ask Christine Warren, so that you can hear from our students themselves what they have already done some hard work on, which is to create an oath for their class. And I'm going to invite Dr. Warren, as I said, to come. They all have it. You have a copy?
Yes, they have a,
They have a copy, and you're going to invite
yes, and
two students up?
Yep.
Okay.
When they come up in 1 second. You all look terrific, and my cheek muscles are definitely going to be sore tomorrow. On the final day of orientation, all 200 plus medical students worked together to craft their oath of professionalism. And how this process worked is they initially started in small groups, which then combined into larger groups. And within those groups, they identified key concepts of professionalism that they wanted to highlight. Finally, an appointed executive committee of 14 students came together to pen the final oath that you will hear momentarily. And I would like to invite two members of the executive committee to lead their classmates in the recitation of this oath, which will mark their formal entrance into the study of medicine. So Reed Herrick Anderson and Deanna Riley, will you please join me at the podium? And then will the entering class of 2024 please rise and turn to your oath.
We, the entering class of 2024, make the following promises. We promise to hold each other to high professional standards that inspire trust and respect in our patients and colleagues. We promise to serve and empower our patients through humanistic care. We promise to safeguard human dignity by treating each patient with empathy and compassion. We promise to promote justice and equity for our diverse patient populations by advocating for individuals and communities. We promise to research, innovate, and uphold lifelong learning to pioneer evidence-based medicine. We promise to embrace interprofessional collaboration and unique perspectives. We promise to protect and nurture our well-being to deliver the highest quality patient care. We will prioritize compassion and caring for all patients, regardless of background. As future physicians, we will use our privilege to advocate for justice in healthcare and advance the profession of medicine.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to our students for this incredible oath that you've put together. And as I am sure you will be reminded continually, we want you to remember it. I think it is incredible, and I noticed that you started each section with the statement, "We promise." So we're going to hold you to it, which is good. So let me share our enthusiasm for your entry into our profession. We hope and undoubtedly am sure that it will have a profound impact on your lives going forward, and the impact that you have on many, many, many others throughout your careers. I want to begin our procession out of the building. Could I ask, as our quintet of brass begins their incredible music statement for us, that we give them a round of applause? Thank you. we're going to be orderly on our way out for just one reason, and that is these are pretty cool white coats all of us have on. We want to go out to the steps of Severance, and if the audience will allow us, we'll assemble everybody out there, the white coat holders. We'll take a picture. There's a reception out in the waiting area, and we want all of you to join us there. We'll come back in after we get our few pictures. You're going to love to see the pictures. So thank you all for joining us. What an incredible day.